Good morning. How are you doing? All right. So, as Talia said, this is going to be a discussion of small business owners, which is pretty awesome. We are all women business owners today. We will be diving into our own journeys of growth pertaining to our businesses, followed by an audience Q&A. And then after that, we're going to break off into groups, and so that you can talk to us one-on-one and ask your own questions. All right, first up, we have Jamila Conley with We Rise Wines. Yeah. Jamila Conley is a dynamic executive with over 25 years of experience aligning people, operations, and execution with corporate strategy. She is currently the CEO and founder of We Rise Wines, which is a mission-based focus on driving access and awareness of women and diverse wineries and winemakers. Jamila recently left the tech world where she has held leadership roles spanning talent acquisition, M&A integration, business transformation, and IT strategic solutioning. Jamila holds a CPA license, an MBA in Management Information Systems, and a certification as an information security auditor. Jamila serves on the board of Technology Access Foundation, which is working to bridge the equity gap, in education and introduce students of color to STEM. She also serves as an advisory board member for the Program Management Certificate Program at the University of Washington. Welcome to Jamila. All right, next up is Colleen Ecohawk with 8th Generation. Colleen is a born organizer, change maker, and leader. Her experiences as an Indigenous woman, small business owner, community organizer, and executive leader inform her efforts in building a community of justice and reconciliation. An enrolled member of the Kikihaki Band and the Pawnee Nation, a member of the Upper Athabascan people of Mentassa Lake, Colleen is proud to have called Seattle home for over 2 decades. She's a champion for change, igniting successful coalitions to build about positive shifts in Seattle, housing, homelessness, racial justice, sustainability, and public safety issues. Colleen is committed to her service. In her latest role as the CEO of Native Lifestyle Brand 8th Generation, Colleen is using her connections and business insight to take the small business global. Through an artistic-centric approach and positive outlook, the Native brand is posed under Colleen's leadership to share authentic Native designed art and home goods with an international audience eager for ethically made products. In her spare time, I love this, Colleen loves to watch Netflix originals, belt Beyonce with friends at karaoke, yes, take her dog Rizzo for long walks, and bake for her friends and family. Welcome, Colleen. And last but not least, we have Heather McDowell with Seattle Green Earth Cleaning. After attaining a graduate degree in international political economy from the University of Washington, Heather spent 15 years in Fortune 500 corporate America. By mid-career, she knew she wanted something different, changed by her experience in large corporations and pulled by a desire to contribute to her community in more of a hands-on way. In 2010, inspired by a cooperative model of leadership, Heather founded Seattle Green Earth Cleaning, an environmentally friendly and socially responsible residential cleaning company offering customized services and dedicated to improving the lives of her clients, team members, and the rest of her community. Heather, whose leadership philosophy centers on putting team members first, valuing their contributions, and sharing profits equitably, used her role as a steward rather than an owner and attributes the ongoing success of the company to the team that she leads. In 2024, the company grew to over 45 team members, and she is aiming to transition to an employee-owned cooperative in the coming years. Awesome. Welcome, Heather. Welcome, panelists. Was there anything that you all wanted to add? No? Okay. So we're just going to jump into it. Casual conversation here. So let's start with, I love this, all the questions. I don't know how we're going to get through them, but what inspired to start what inspired you to start your business? And what challenges have you faced currently, or in the past? Anyone? Hello?
Okay. Um, as you mentioned, I spent my first 15 years in corporate America, and that actually inspired me to start my own business. Because of seeing sort of firsthand some of the key causes of the ills of our society, honestly, the gap between rich and poor, the disintegrating middle class, the not having support and opportunities for hardworking Americans. And so I left corporate America and I started my own business. I had hoped that it would be remotely successful. I was looking for something modest. Maybe I could change the lives of 10 or 15 people and hopefully make enough money to survive in the Seattle market, metro area. But my journey actually over the last 13 years has been unbelievably surprising. Starting the business 13 years ago, like I said, I hoped for something small, but at every step of the way, it has become more and more successful. And I feel like we kind of have the structure as a model for going forward. I was chosen this year as the Small Business Person of the Year for Washington State and the national runner-up for Small Business Person of the Year, which was really cool. It was really fun. And I think part of that was in recognition to the fact that you can have a successful business by focusing on your values and giving straight equitably with our profits, contributing to our community. It has been more profitable than I ever thought. We've contributed more than I ever thought. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. I hate to say that. I probably, I don't know, but in talking with other small business owners, I have a really easy business. And I think it's because we put values first. We put our people first. Every single one of my employees, all the team members, they contribute to our team. And so my journey over the last 13 years has been kind of an awakening of what I think the future of small business can be, especially considering that almost 50% of Americans work at small businesses. And I think we have the opportunity to make a change in our businesses and in our society. That was my motivation.
Thank you, Heather. That was amazing. I love getting to be next to you, inspired already by what you do. So, hi everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I am fortunate to be the eighth generation, and I do want to make a quick note that I actually don't know that I found the company. The company was founded by Louis Gong and was bought by the Snoqualmie tribe about 4 years ago. And I am their first ever CEO of a small business that kind of took off big time during the pandemic because people wanted to buy it. And we have some and brilliant products that people wanted for their homes. And so we had that kind of pandemic success. And I get to lead the company now. I do also mention I do own another company called Headwater People Consulting. But I'm here really to talk about the eighth generation company. We do have a downtown store, but most of our business is done online. And when you think about what the problems are and how we solve them, I think the biggest problem for eighth generation is that we are a native-owned business with native-owned products, and people are so confused by that. Like when people come into our store and they're like, "Wow, this is like really nice." They're surprised by that. That should tell us something. They're surprised that there could be a really nice native-owned store, and then they say, "This is like indigenous pottery barn," and I kind of love that because I think yes, this is Indian country. We are all right now so fortunate to be on the lands of the Coast Salish people, yet you hardly see any representation of in people's homes or on our streets or what people wear. And that's because people didn't honestly think we'd make it. I come from a community that lost thousands and thousands of people. I'm descended from 600 people who survived an American genocide in Nebraska and Kansas, where my community's from, the Pawnee tribe. And so we are now on this other side of it. And we have thriving, brilliant people who are looking to make their place in a world that wasn't set up for us, but a world that needs our voices. I desperately believe that we need more Native people in every leadership role in this country. And so I moved from working in a nonprofit space and in a very activism space. I love that Heather saw them. I love going to stations of activism. But now I'm in the business world intentionally because when we look at the rates of poverty, when we look at the rates of health outcomes, they're directly connected to business. And I tell my team, I love my team, I get to bring a lot of young Native people. I'm so anti-status for them right now. I'm like way older than people on my team. but I tell them, like, imagine yourself in the Fortune 500 suites because there's never been a Native person there. And why can't it be them? And so that is what we're building in eighth generation. We're telling the world, yes, you should. You're not Native, you should have Native products in your home. It makes sense. You live in this beautiful country that was framed by Native thoughts and ideologies. And we need to have Native people in that business space contributing in a way that will make all of us better and contribute to the prosperity of Native people. So that's what HM is all about. Follow us on social media. Bye from us.
Well, I'm the new kid on the block here. Just getting started with my business, We Rise Wines. And the thing that drove me to start my own business is twofold. One, I have been in corporate America, worked in tech for over 2 decades. And quite honestly, I was getting burned out, but I knew I also wanted to do something that could drive impact and could drive impact for communities of color and could drive impact specifically for women as well. And I wasn't sure what that was going to look like until I went to a winemaker's dinner that was a celebration of women in wine and Black women in wine. And as someone who really enjoys wine, and I always try to seek out smaller winemakers, try to discover new wines, it struck me that there were, and I'm talking, it was less than 10 women winemakers at this dinner, but it struck me that I only knew one of them. And I was like, how is this possible as being a Black woman? And it got me thinking and starting to research just what equity looked like in the wine industry, got me thinking about what could I do to help bridge this gap and get more underrepresented wineries and winemakers, what can drive more awareness and understanding. And for me, it's about solving that problem. And it's about, like I said, creating multi-generational wealth. It's like when we think about wine, we think about all the old vineyards, the old money that's in wine. It's like, why is it that when it comes to diversity, we can't have the same thing? But it's really hard for small wineries to get into distribution, which means it's hard for them to get into restaurants, which means it's hard for them to get into grocery stores. So unless you're going out to wine country, you have no idea that a lot of these wineries exist. And I want to change that. I want to change that by bringing these labels, these winemakers, and telling their stories to the city and putting it right in the middle. I'm going to be located just at Second Stewart. So I'll have a lot of foot traffic by both tourists, residents, corporate. So to me, it's about that one small step to really help drive that access and drive that awareness, because I'm highly passionate about diversity and inclusion. And why not do it in an industry that I enjoy, and I enjoy wine. So, and the other thing was at this dinner, as I talked to the winemakers, most of them left corporate America. So to me, it was like, oh, you left corporate America to do something you enjoy and start a winery. Well, I don't way too lazy to start a winery, but what are my other talents that I can do to try to help? And it's like, and that's really where We Rise was born out of, is out of that passion and commitment for diversity. And how do we bring better equity to an industry that a lot of people enjoy? And I want to, it's like I want to have a good time doing it. And like I said, it really helped drive more of that multi-generational wealth.
I'll try to be quick. But what inspired me is the ladies' room was actually an existing day spa called Lady Wells that I used to frequent, and they closed during the pandemic, and they were closed for 2 years. And I feel the community really felt that loss. And I think I sold it to myself that from coming from the restaurant industry to health and wellness, that it's still hospitality. We're still servicing people. And I'm still dealing with the health department. It's just a different aspect. And really seeing that my passion is people. It might not be food or health and wellness, but my passion is people. And creating spaces that are inclusive, inviting, warm, and that you feel welcome. And so, yeah, that's what inspired me, and feeling that Seattle could lose this little gem in Greenwood. Yeah. So, next question. I want to just like skip around here. What role, because I like this one, do mentorship and networking play in your journey as a business owner, and how have they influenced your success?
So it's funny, we were talking about networking, but I'm not gonna call you out, Heather. Networking has been the cornerstone to helping me move forward. If it weren't for networking, I wouldn't be sitting. Even with what I just said about what inspired me to start, but what really gave me the wind beneath my wings is that as I talked about the idea to people, the validation that came from people, but not only just the validation, but what came with that validation was, wow, this is a great idea. You should talk to this person. And it just became talking to one person, became talking to the next person, which became, oh, well, you need to take this action. You should do this. And it just kept fueling the fire that actually started snowballing me faster into, okay, I think I have something here. Let me do this next thing. Let me get my LLC. Let me start a web page. Let me talk to this person. Okay, let me start looking at real estate because now I've been connected to a real estate agent. But it's just like, so things just started moving. It's just like, so networking has been that thread to really propel things forward. And then the mentorship that comes along with that is everything becomes a learning. And I think what's key is that if you're approaching things with a growth mindset, it's not just a conversation of what should I do next. It becomes a learning of, oh, I can learn from you. I can grow from you. I'm literally sitting here and I was like, oh, I need to talk to Christy because she's in the restaurant business. And, I'm in food and beverage. I can learn something from her. So to me, both that connection and having an open mind of what's that next thing I can learn that I don't know that I don't know is what really, to me, has both propelled and helped set me up for success.
Yeah, beautiful. I just was sitting here listening and thinking that, networking is something, because I love people. I want to like be besties with all of you. This is a good thing. It's one of my, I just like it. I like people. I think the hard thing for me is that when we get into the spaces where we're actually saying, hey, let's make a deal, that it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always work because we're such a weird, I shouldn't say weird. No one knows exactly what to do with a brand like lead generation. And so that's a continued challenge that I have to help my folks that I'm networking with, people who I know are really, really great and want to support, unique design products, but just trying to help them find that like fit. And so when I think about all the networking I do, and I do a lot of it, I'm on way too many boards. I just go to everything because I love people. But I'm also thinking about what does it mean for all of us when we see a really underrepresented and marginalized business or group, and how do we like actually pull the levers to make networking actually mean something more than just great wine and fun, which I love. That's why I like both of your businesses. So, by the way, if you've never been to Pine Creek, it is in my neighborhood. It's my favorite restaurant. The venison pate is like the most delicious thing in the whole world. The old fashioned is what I always get. They have amazing caviar. Sorry. I live in Greenwood area and I love your restaurants. That's it for me.
Well, I'm gonna out myself. I do not like to network. I am an introvert, an incredible introvert. I would much rather spend the day in the basement working on the computer than with people. This is fun though. Not fun. This is fun. So for any of you introverts out there, or people who are like terrified by the fact of having to go meet people and ask them random questions that may or may not help you, you can still be successful without doing that. And I'm not espousing not networking, of course, it's a wonderful thing. I just don't do it. And you can be very successful not doing it. The one thing I will say is when I am looking, I agree with all the mentorship discussion. And what I have done is seek out mentors in my team members. They have helped me grow the business. They're the professionals in the field. I mean, I did cleaning, but they are the ones that do it every day. And so I ask them, well, what should we do next? I've got these ideas. What about you? And that has really, I think, contributed dramatically to our success. I hope that provides a slightly different take. You'll also want to know how I don't market either. I'm kind of anti-marketing and anti-social media. Sorry.
We'll just skip that section. Yeah, adding to this, I find I get stuck in the business of having a physical location. I get stuck. I'm working with the team. And just honestly, just this year, so we've been open a little over a year and a half, and just this January, I'm like, I am going to go to Seattle Chamber events. I am going to put myself out there. I really don't enjoy networking, but it works. Talking to all of you and creating connections, it helps. It really does. Putting yourself out there, getting uncomfortable. And you're learning about other businesses, and we can all support each other. And I think that's huge, especially in this day and age. Yeah. So how do you approach partnerships or collaborations with other businesses to fuel your growth and reach new audiences?
For me, obviously, the cornerstone for what I'm doing is around partnerships, and it's about making those connections with wineries, and actually with businesses as well. So it's about being very intentional. It's about having a clear mission and vision that people want to be a part of, and to me, it starts there, and then it helps drive that conversation where people naturally want to know more. And so for me, that's been extremely helpful of being able to approach wineries, just going into a winery. And a lot of times I've even been there with friends not trying to work. And someone, the person, pouring at the tasting room, they may overhear and it's just like, oh, are you in the wine industry? And it's like, well, sort of, let me tell you what I'm doing. And the next thing I know, it's like, well, here's our card. When can we talk? We think we'll be a good fit for your model. So it's like, one, making those partnerships are key, then following up, and then also just listening to how people who want to partner with you, like, what are their thoughts on how to collaborate? So I always try to make sure that it's an open door for both ways. It's not just about, well, here's what I can do, but let's talk about, how do we work together? And one of the things that we're doing early on, and my social media person is in the room back there, is we're having collaborations with the wineries and learning their stories, writing their stories, incorporating in the blog, and making sure that it's this symbiotic relationship that is not about a transaction, but is really about how are we building a relationship and helping to promote each other, because we really do feel that, together we rise as we collaborate more together.
Confidence, because what you're saying about like when you actually get out there and you are building these partnerships and networks, that the new idea is like just start feeding. And for our team, it's been really important as we think about what kind of new products we want to develop. We actually started off with just blankets, and we are known throughout the country for blankets. We had one of our blankets was featured in the cover of British Vogue last year, and it's just, that's our number one product. But we need to diversify, and so getting out and asking people like, hey, what would you like in your home? You know, like what would make you feel comfortable? We also learned that there's we kind of dabbled in a little bit of fashion for a while and realized that there's like Native people, we love to wear our indigeneity all over our bodies as much as we can, but non-Native people did not feel comfortable. And if we're going to be a global brand, we've got to make sure that non-Native people feel great about our products. And so what we heard is people want to have that they can use in their kitchen. So we have a whole line of kitchenware now that's incredibly beautiful, and people really seem to resonate with that. It would not have happened without talking and getting out there and saying, you know, what do you like about, you know, our brand and our designs, and could you just do this in your house? So that's been very, very important. And the other thing that's important for us too is partnership with vendors. We design all of our products are designed by Native people, but we manufacture all over. And so having, you know, good relationships with the port and good relationships with you know, our shipping companies, and that's something I've been trying to really instill into my team, because again, I mentioned that we're younger than me, and they didn't really love doing that, but they've seen it be really important for us. So yeah, we gotta build those relationships, and
Well, I do have something to say here, even though we don't have a lot of partnerships, but I just like view partnerships a little bit differently. When I started the business, one thing that I wanted to make sure was a key tenet is community contribution. So one of the things that we do is offer 15% discount for any client that donates to the food bank, whether you know, it be sundries or food or a check. And we bring in about $40,000 a year, and over about 16 tons of sundries and food to the University District Food Bank. So when I think about partnership, I think about connecting with some of the community organizations. We also work with like WCA. We clean some of their facilities. We do, you know, adopting holiday families through them. So we're working with, we do Adopt a Street. We work with Green Partnership Seattle. We've worked with Seattle Arboretum Foundation. We work with a ton, and we continue to look for opportunities to get involved in our community in a lot of ways. And I suppose that is my idea around partnership, and it has done wonderful things for our business. We've served our clients that way, but again, more importantly for me, at least my focus, is we have a great team that is actually excited to be a part of these kinds of opportunities, and they seek them out. One of my team members came up with the Adopt a Street program. They're like, no, there's a Seattle program, and we're cleaning homes. Why are we cleaning streets? You know, so I've been able to create a culture where our community contribution is really top of mind for all of our folks, and that to me is partnerships.
Nice, nice. I think it's important as a business owner and looking at other businesses that are similar to yours. They're not competition, but they're your friend, and using them, and they can use you as a source of great wealth and knowledge. There's Banya 5. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a spa that focuses on hydrotherapy as well, very similar to our business model, and they've been around for probably 20 years. And just collaborating with them and bouncing ideas off of them is priceless. So just remember that, and using and talking to people that, you know, they're not competition. We're all in this together, and yeah, using that wealth of knowledge to grow, and they're going to grow. And also businesses, which I found recently, just your radius, if you do have a storefront, a physical location. Right now we're working with I Do Bridal, and they actually approached us, and I'm thinking, how can we benefit you? You're gonna bring us brides and bridezillas and all the things, and yeah, and so just kind of opening your mind to like new opportunities and ways for you to grow, but also other businesses to grow, like Cheeky and Dry. Kirsten over here, we just met. I'm like, what can we do together? And I just, yeah, we can talk to her later. I know. But I want to like we have a little bit. Okay. I'm skipping because social media. I know. Heather doesn't want to talk about it, but this is the day and age that we live in. And so we'll just start simple. What social media platforms do you find most effective for reaching and engaging your target audience, and why? I'll be quick on this and then y'all jump into it because we and it's a love-hate relationship. And I do it. We just hired a social media brand strategic person. And I think it's going to be invaluable. And so, but we use Instagram and it just automatically goes through Facebook. We've done a few, like spend $25 and boost your post, a few of those. And I feel like you really need to be authentic. Don't be fake. Don't use fake pictures, videos. Just be who you are. I am learning that I need to be a face on it, and you'll see more of me probably. But I just want to show the space and the people and what we offer, but really because I have found I want to support businesses where I can see a face and I feel like I know who they are. We need to do that for our business, but also be open to when people, so many people reach out on Instagram, and just be open to like, okay, so this person has 10,000 followers. Yeah, sure. Come in before we open, take some shots, and you never know. And I'm learning how do followers equal money. That's still a learning process. And to me, it's not about the followers. It's just about getting people in the door and experiencing this lovely space that we have to offer. So, social media.
So +1 to everything you said. But three things that I want to kind of lean into is that one, yes. And I was the person that I never went on Facebook. I should have deleted my Facebook, but I just kept it for family stuff every now and then. Instagram, I only posted if I was traveling, so I'm just not and I didn't like posting a lot of pictures of myself. And the first thing I had to learn is one, I knew the things I was good at and not good at. And I found out quickly, like, oh, everyone wants you to have an Instagram above all else. Where they care if you have a website, even an email, they're looking for your Instagram. So, and I realized this is not my strong suit. So that was one of the first things that I got support for and invested in was social media. Number two, after that investment, I was quickly told, well, we need to get you in front of the camera. And I was like, oh, God, no. But you're right. As I started doing these little videos that I think are kind of goofy and just like, oh, this is horrible. People love that stuff. And it's like, are you kidding me? So, and then three, it really does drive this level of connection. And the number of people who have reached out to me about partnering, wanting to learn more. Hey, I saw this. And Kirsten is interesting because I was actually going to reach out to you because I want to carry some non-alcoholic beverages and I wanted to talk to you. And I was looking at your Instagram the other day. So glad you're here. So that's been key. And then as far as platforms, alongside Instagram that automatically goes to Facebook, I use LinkedIn. And it's because of my business connections that one is also really key of driving that awareness and people knowing that I'm going to say that you're serious. And even though Instagram, people know you're serious by what you're posting, but it's different of how are you gathering those people who also have known you as this business professional? How do we cross basically pollinate? Not just what's happening in Instagram, but people actually, knowing like, okay, you're a serious business professional. you are driving a business that you're trying to scale and grow. So I think that presence on Instagram and having a regular, just regular cadence there is extremely important as well. So, but yeah, being authentic, getting your face out there and being the face and having the support you need if you know that this isn't my thing, don't force it because that comes through. So having that support early has been one of the best investments I've made.
Oh my goodness, everything you guys just said, I totally agree. And I will say that I have a team, a social media team that helps me out a lot, and they do most of it on each end. And we are very, very active. I will say that growing our business outside of Seattle, it was on Instagram and Facebook for sure. There's no question. The key was consistency, was putting our faces out there. I have had made so many of those cringy videos, and I'm just like, oh my God, who's gonna watch this? But people do, they like it, and it's difficult. I want to mention something that's really important though for small business, especially if you are in the meta world, which Instagram and Facebook. If you Google meta and small business, you're going to see a lot of really mad small business members because what has happened very recently is that people are hacking those accounts. And about a year ago, they took away from the reps for most small businesses. They have to have like over, I don't know, a certain revenue on them. And anyways, and spending with them. Your accounts, make sure you have the two-code verification set up, all of those things. It's worth it even to, talk to someone about security of those accounts because Meta will not help you. And there's a lot of really, really upset small business owners right now. And it's something that they've told me they're trying to address, but if you become reliant on it, you've got to make sure your accounts are secure. So big lesson learned for us there. We had really weird first quarter revenue, and it was directly connected to Meta, and that we didn't have those accounts. So that was a lesson learned. It was hard. I want to mention quickly TikTok. We have had a lot of success on TikTok this past year and a half. We have some videos that have over 5 million views that went totally viral. We sold out. We had one product that we just were like, because no one knows how to do TikTok shop. If you Google it, you'll see, or you go on TikTok and try to figure it out, you'll see 1,000 different ways to be successful on TikTok. So it's like throwing darts at it to try to see what will land. And we did that, and we had a brand new product. We only had 300 units because it was a practice. We sold out in one day. It can really, really work. Again, consistency on all the platforms. Even if you're only getting like 10 views, keep going. If you believe in your product, you're being authentic about it, just keep going, and eventually the algorithm's gonna catch you. So,
caveat, I guess, to social media or one thought on social media. Perhaps the reason that I'm not too involved is I'm 50-something, but I do work with 20-year-olds. So they are constantly telling me how much we should be on social media. And so I let them do whatever they want. But we have more business than we can handle. And that's been true since day one. So that's another reason why we don't market. And because we have more business than we can handle. And we are constantly turning away clients. So we haven't had the need to do that. I did just participate in the SBA Thrive program. I don't know if any of you know about that. It's a really great program through SBA. You get together with business owners, around 25 business owners for about 6 months. And you're able to talk about your businesses and basically go through your business and analyze each piece of it. There's a whole module on social media. And it was really interesting to hear other business owners spending thousands and thousands of dollars on social media. It worked for some and it didn't work for others. So I think probably key is figuring out what and if it works for you, because my perspective is I would much rather take that money and increase everyone's wages by a few dollars an hour, and that's what my perspective was I don't really want to spend the time on marketing or social media. I love the connection piece of it. And I could see where a product-based business would benefit tremendously. But think about your business and, how would it fit your particular business or not fit? would those funds be better spent elsewhere?
So I feel like going off what Colleen was saying, do you, and both of you, have other, successful strategies that you've used, with social media, that you could share?
So beyond what we're already doing, I'm sorry, can you clarify?
Yeah, like what has really clicked with people? What has, like, this TikTok, I mean, maybe you can start, Colleen. Like, what was the video? How, yeah, tell us.
So the one where we sold out, it was just this really simple gold necklace. It was like retail for like $40 or something. And we connected with a trending sound. It's it's one that's like somebody saying like, bitch, I said what you said. So it was sort of like, you know what I said, sorry to say that, well, that's what we use. And I will say that we wouldn't put that on Instagram or Facebook, for instance, because we have different audiences. Like we have an older crowd on Facebook, so we would never put that on Facebook. So we're intentional about that, we know the TikTok audience, that sound was trending like crazy that week. And so again, not me, my 24-year-old social media manager was like, let's do this one. And it was a simple little video. They just held it up and on the caption, on the top it just said, I'm not native, can I wear this? And then our wholesale manager holds it up and then mouse shots it, and we're like went crazy for it. And so that's the other thing is like just being spy about what's trending. I didn't even know what a sound was, but that is, major on both Instagram Reels and on TikTok. It's just being aware of what that is. I got a little obsessive with it for a while at school every night, like what are the trending sounds to try to understand it. And that's kind of fun. I think the other thing for me, because I did not grow up on social media. I'm 48 years old, right? So it's weird. It's a weird thing. And I think, but I have spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time trying to understand it, and it got to be kind of fun. And if you go on TikTok, like, I like to watch dog videos and I like to watch food videos, right? And that helped me to like have something that was interesting. Like I'm not just looking at random 14-year-olds doing dance, right? I don't care. But it was my kids. So TikTok is really important right now if you are selling a product like I am. It's unpredictable right now, which is frustrating, but sometimes you're gonna hit it and that's gonna be great. We posted another video similar to that one the other day that got like 8,000 views. They're really sad. So yeah, just trying it and trying to make it be yours and feel good about it, and then consistency.
Yeah, I agree with both the consistency piece and like for us and part of our mission, and since we are more right now kind of generating excitement as we move towards our launches, that is also how we're driving our voice and our brand. So part of our brand is about inclusivity. How are we making the wine industry more inclusive? And how are we keep helping people learn about wine, but taking out the stereotype of you need to know everything down to the dirt, the grape, the smell. And what I found that has resonated with the videos we've done is that they're both cringy, but that makes them authentic. But then there's always an element of learning, but in a way that's not like, oh, you should know this. That like I did this video using a horror venue. So it's a little this little machine where it's like basically put a needle into a cork and it allows you and it puts nitrogen gas into the wine so that you can pour a glass of wine without ruining the wine. So but people love that video because they didn't know about it, and the way I did the video is like, oh, I bought this new little thing. You're gonna experience it with me of how to use it. And people thought that was really cool. And I did like a video on wine glasses on, hey, we're trying to choose our glasses for, the wine bar. And, and again, just did a little taste test of with a Bordeaux glass versus a Burgundy glass. And so people love these little things because they're learning little tidbits, but it's also so it's so approachable that you don't have to feel like, oh, of course I know the difference between a Burgundy glass, and versus like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I had no idea that was a thing. And so a lot of the comments were, oh, can't wait to see what you chose, because it was one of those at the end of, hey, you'll have to stop by when we're open to see which one we went with. And so, it's like, I think it's like things like that of just being consistent in your brand voice. That our brand voice is that, hey, we're approachable. We're trying to build an inclusive environment and promote diversity. So everything we do, even if it's not talking about diversity, is being consistent in our message of, oh, this is going to be a very inclusive.
One quick thing I wanted to add is if you're trying to grow your social media, giveaways. People love to give away, and we've grown, I don't know, like thousands of different times. Also, we've only done this once, but we've worked with an influencer, and we're going to do it more because it was really successful. I think we grew by like 10,000 followers just with that one influencer, and it was expensive and a huge thing, but it did grow the audience, and that does equal sales. So we did it again. We haven't done it yet because it was so cool.
Kind of bouncing back to inclusivity. What steps do you take to ensure that your products or service are inclusive and accessible to diverse communities, including women from different backgrounds and experiences?
Going here, okay. Well, my focus is mainly on team members. So we start out by advertising for clean freaks and introverts. And we talk a lot in our job ad about us being a very LGBT plus positive community, BIPOC, and neurodiversity. So we have a lot of folks, over 70% of our people, of our team members, include those groups. We've gone to diversity seminars. We've had diversity conversations within our company. We talk about individual experiences and how do we, as individuals, work together, and how do we work with clients who might have different than ourselves. So it's like a constant thing that we're talking about and we're evaluating. I don't know if that's
To me, it's about walking your talk. So obviously, since my whole mission is built around inclusivity, but again, kind of going back to the social media, that I also do little videos of what we're drinking tonight and how I'm promoting and talking about, the diversity of the people behind the wine that we're drinking and highlighting, so people know that we're walking our talk and always representing, and it's not just, oh, we're drinking this wine, but it's always, oh, we're opening this wine tonight that's by this Black woman on blah blah blah, and so openly talking about diversity helps both stick to our brand mission, how we show up, and that we're driving that inclusion from the start, so that when we launch, people already know that this is what they're going to experience.
Our company is so interesting in that we're native owned, native led. We have a lot of native people that want to work for us. So, yeah, we just are pretty lucky there, and we have a lot of really cool teams, a great team. I think that though, when I think about, the small business world and, wanting to build out a great, diverse team, I think that one thing I would really invite everyone to think about is that because of all of the systemic issues that we're aware of, that sometimes you need to find that right person who's going to fit in your business, fits with you, and then give them the opportunity to learn it, and give them the opportunity to just like grow in your business and to gain a skill maybe that they didn't have. And I think that that has been really true in our business. We have, a warehouse manager who, has a huge warehouse in Georgetown. yeah, I think his undergrad degree was like, science, history, sorry. It was like an American Indian history degree. And he was this Navajo 22-year-old kid, and he learned all of this amazing stuff because he's super smart and he knows how to, resource himself. So I think that's a really something I've definitely learned in business is there's opportunities for folks to succeed if they're the right person, if they get the business, and then you resource them and make this take off.
So now is the portion of the question and answer. I will roam around the cabin. Anybody have any questions for us? Don't need more coffee. Here we go.
So it's really enlightening. So you can share. My name is Brian McRae. I represent for schools. My question is, just as a small business owner, where are you now? What is the thing that you love?
Getting my lease finalized.
For me, it's inflation. Our costs have gone up quite considerably with specifically shipping, wanting to pay people more with everything kind of more expensive. So that's keeping me up quite a bit at night. We need to see more profitability, and we're figuring out all the different ways that we can do that. We just had a price change. We had a price change in a while. My whole team, we were freaked out by it. It was because we want one that's interesting about us. We want Native people to be able to afford our products. And if we raise our prices, so that's keeping me up. The other thing I'll say, and I mentioned already, is just cybersecurity. We had that huge success last year of being on the cover of British Vogue, but it also opened up all kinds of people trying to hack us. We've had our Dropbox account hacked. We've had our bank, payments. We've had somebody like hack our emails and then send an email from a vendor saying, "Oh, we changed our bank account, send it here." And thank God we had two payments going through. One was for a smaller amount and one was for a huge amount. And thank God we caught it with the small amount. But it's just, it's just a problem. And I think that the hackers are really aware that our small businesses are vulnerable, and they look for it and they take many opportunities to try to get it. So we have a whole policy now. We firewall all of it. But that keeps me up.
I don't have anything that keeps me up right now, but I do want to say pricing. Sorry. Really good business. It's nice in my world, but pricing. I will say we raised prices for our existing customers by 20% January 1st. We raised them for new customers by 40%. We had not adjusted pricing in way too long. So pre-pricing increase, I was up at night a lot thinking about the longevity of our business and the sustainability. What was fascinating from that pricing increase, of the 300-400 clients that we have and we service regularly, we lost 5 clients, and we had over 30 people respond because I wrote an email that was literally 2 pages long. And everyone said, "It's too much. No one wants to read that." But it explained where all the money was going. And it explained our increase in paid time off to 3 weeks to start. We raised wages by $2 an hour. We raised, we have a pay transparency scale. We raised the top scale by about 20%. We did all of these things. And I explained it all in my email, and we had over 30 people respond and say, "That's why I'm choosing you, is because you're doing that." And even at 40% higher prices, we're the highest priced cleaning company in Seattle. We still we've had a little drop off in interest, but we still have more business than we can handle. So now it doesn't keep me up at night. And I think, especially, we are so lucky to live in the Seattle area, because I think there are so many people here, first of all, that have a lot of wealth, but they also want to contribute to their communities, and they see what's happening and they want, well, everything you guys are talking about, they want that connection, they want to contribute, and they want to support businesses who are doing these things, who are making those decisions. And so being really authentic about it and explaining why and explaining what you're doing, I think is the key to good business. And that's it. No, but then I guess the other thing that's keeping me up, I don't know if it's keeping me up, but trying to figure out how to transition into a employee-owned business. So I just started, I ordered some books, I'm researching that right now. I've talked to my attorney, and that is going to be my exit plan. So
What's keeping me up is, so Lady Wells, the previously, from the ladies' room, that space is over 10 years old. So we're talking about pools, steam room, saunas, just spent $12,000 on a new steam room generator. That's what's keeping me up. We're going to be closing in the middle of the summer to do some renovations. And where's that money going to come from? And then also the loss of revenue for that week and a half that we're going to be closed. And so it's just thinking positive, exploring other options, networking with people of how we're going to find that money. And then I think also, I love that with communication about we're going to have to raise prices. Owning a spa is a lot more expensive than I expected. And, you know, we wanted to keep our prices approachable. And I think we'll still offer discounted when it's slower times, like a happy hour and, you know, 12 to 4, something like that. But we're open. We've laid the groundwork, and I think explaining, hey, this is probably going to happen in the fall. This is why. But we want to remain open, keep those doors open. Okay, great question. Thank you, Ryan. Anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Stella. If you could go back to your day one as a small business owner, what is one thing that you would change from everything that you've learned now, just as you're starting out? Thanks.
I'll go. Trust your gut. Listen to yourself. Really. If that employee that you hired is not sitting right with you, just cut the ties. You'll relieve a lot of heartache, because that's what used to keep me up. You know, and I'm a people pleaser, but you're running a business. So really, what is best for the business? Yeah, trust your gut.
I love that one so much. I tell that to my younger folks on my team all the time, especially my employees. I've never regretted firing someone, and it's always been after a lot of hard work, and we all knew it was coming. But that's such a big one. I think the other thing I would say is just being bolder about the brand or whatever you're working on, like just being like the ambassador. At first I was a little bit with both H generation and my consulting practice a little bit like hesitant about it. Like what is it, you know, and just I wish I had just been like, no, this is never happened. And it took me a little out there. So being bolder and taking more risks.
I don't know yet because I'm still launching. So it's hard for me to answer that question because I feel like I'm still in that learning journey and I'm still figuring things out. So I actually don't have an answer to that.
I do. I've been thinking about it. You guys going first. I would like to answer that. Authenticity, being authentic is so important, and taking risks. And the example that I was thinking of is when I started my business. I had come from Starbucks in middle management. And so I had my brand positioning statement, I had all my things. I was all ready to go based on all the marketing knowledge and, you know, all the stuff. And I used to, for the first couple of years, take every team member through our brand positioning statement and we would talk about all these things. And then I realized it's more important to live it than to just talk about it. That was my gut to begin with, but coming from corporate America, I felt like I had to have all these things. I had to have the perfect brand plan. I had to have the perfect marketing plan. I had to have, you know, PR. I had to have all these things. And realizing, again, this may be my industry specific, but realizing that you can trust the people that you have on board and make them your biggest advocates, so that yields success.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thanks so much for all your information. My name's Heidi and I own Somersault Wellness. As you're building, I'm kind of wearing all the hats and I'm trying to figure out, okay, it'd be great to, I have a consultant who's helping me, it's great, but social media is like, and I'm not consistent and I kind of feel like I start again and start again and start again, but I don't know where to find a person who could fill that role. And so how do you go about sourcing your mentors and, you know, the social media people?
Talk to Stella over there. She can help you. But honestly, this kind of goes back to the, but I'm serious, talk to Stella, she's amazing. But it goes back to what we're talking about and networking and talking to people and talking to other business owners. For me, the way I found, well, one, kind of getting into this, I took a mindset of, I want to set this business up to be scalable, and taking myself seriously as a CEO meant me thinking about the balance between, okay, I'm going into business for myself, and what are the things I need to support me? Because I do think sometimes a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make is that, oh boy, it's just me, I'm going into this business for myself, so I have to wear all the hats. And I've been very intentional of thinking in that exact opposite of what are the things I know I'm not good at. So number one, when I knew that, okay, I need to start a website, I don't know where to start. I have a friend who's a graphic designer, an amazing graphic designer. I reached out for her help. From her help, and she started helping me with social media, but she was like, you know, you need a content person. I'm not a content person. Here, let me introduce you to someone. And so from there, it's just like, and it's about making that conscious decision of this is going to be an investment. And, you know, it's like we all know our parameters of what can we afford and what can't we afford. But being really, but, you know, I think a lot of people make the mistake of it's just me, so I can't afford anything. Versus knowing, okay, I know what I can afford and I know that I am not the person to do social media. I'm not a graphic designer. So what can I negotiate with the people I need to be a part of my team? And even the same with, like, I got to a point early on where I was trying to take all these calls and meetings. I was also working, you know, my tech executive job, and it's just like, it was too much. And I was like, okay, I have an EA at work. I need an EA for this part of the business. How do I start looking for that? And again, it's just being really serious about and very intentional with what's the support I need and what am I willing to pay for and what can I afford? It's just like I've been taking that approach with a lot of things. Like I just got to the point where trying to keep up with just kind of the bookkeeping. I'm like, you know, have a CPA. That's my personal taxes. Why don't I just ask, you know, as a full firm, I'm sure they have bookkeeping. What does this look like? You know, it's just like being intentional that yes, it's me, but that doesn't mean that you have to be alone in the journey. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of forget that and just think, well, it's just me. I have to do this. And you don't necessarily have to, but just really figuring out where are the places that you need to invest in yourself and then looking at it as this is an investment in me and an investment in my business. Talk to Stella, she's my social media person.
So now we are going to sit at these tables. Feel free to get up, get some coffee and tea. And if you wanted to talk to us individually as a group, that's what we're here for. All right, grab coffee.